Hey, what's going on, everybody? Jamie and Mike here for episode number 74 of Mirrorless Minutes. 74. Can you believe it? That's a lot of episodes. That means we've been doing this for more than just a couple of minutes, which is pretty astounding. If you
1 month away. 1 month away from that 3-year YouTube anniversary or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because you should do something for an anniversary, right? I mean, we should be doing something special, something unique, something fun. So that's what we're doing. And actually, we're not going to give away everything that we're doing, but we can kind of tease and allude to the direction that it's going in. Let's just say that we just finished a little video chat with our buddy Jason, who works on the Adobe Creative Cloud team over at Adobe headquarters there in beautiful sunny California. And
some people use that, I think.
Yeah, like Adobe. Maybe like everybody I know. So, just hinting around at that, I'll just say that there's some fun and exciting stuff coming up in collaboration with Adobe. And they're really cool company to deal with so far. I'm pretty stoked on it. And we've been giving away a lot of stuff lately, and I think we're probably going to continue with that trend, maybe working with Adobe. And I won't tell you what that entails. I will just say that there's going to be some cool stuff. And then there's every once in a while, there might be something that makes you go, oh my God, they're doing that. They're giving that away. So keep following us, you guys. And with that said, I will not tease any more about our adventures coming down the road with Adobe. I'll just say it's going to be fun for Mike and I. And as always, we try to keep it fun for you guys and make it beneficial to everybody in some way, as many people as we can. So stay tuned for that.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I look at it as Adobe as sort of like the fuel for my creative engine. I mean, I got to have it, man.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows. If everybody's talked to me, everybody knows that I'm not a straight out of camera guy. So I mean, I don't exist without Adobe in my life.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
So hey, what have you been up to, man? You've been home lately.
I have been home. I'm a little nervous. I'm getting itchy, so I think I'm going to travel Friday.
Of course.
I don't know if I've spent more than 2 weeks at this address, but in fact, the more I stay here, the more it worries me because I think my wife's getting a list that's longer and longer to do at home.
That's her way of saying,
so
Mike,
maybe that's why I get. Maybe it is why I travel so much. I think I might have just hit something. And I'm not going to pay you for a psychology visit there.
Right.
But I've been home and been able to actually cover a lot of things. We've had some great things happen in Detroit with some new parks, and been able to cover a really crazy mud racing deal in the weird area of the north thumb of Michigan. I'm sorry if you're listening from there. It's different than down here on the southeast side. I think it's even different than Eaton Rapids. It
must be pretty different, man.
It is different. And hey, I've flown the drone a little bit and had some fun. So, and I know we both done that. I know you were out walking. You had your drone following you the other day.
Yeah.
Were you doing active track, or was that you? Were you just tracking?
No, I basically set a path or a course for it to go.
Oh, did you? Because it was really following you well. I go, man, I wonder if he's looking at this, or if you had it in your screen.
No, I basically set up a path for it to follow, and I did a test run with it just to see how it would work. And I had to start it from fairly far away so that I had time to get to where I wanted to be in it. But, again, you're good at like bringing up things that make me want to talk about other things. So the reason that I even took the drone and the reason I even put together that little video is because you got me going on this whole NAR Box thing. Yeah. So now I am the owner of a NAR Box as well. And
see, is this an effect? I don't think this is in After Effects.
Can I say, dude, that's gnarly.
Yeah.
Gnarly box.
Right.
So I've had the NAR Box since I think I got it the day I left to go up north. I think I got it last Friday. And and my whole reason for getting it is because I get a decent number of people asking me, why aren't you on YouTube anymore? And I miss it. I really do. It's just with the career change, and my hours changing, not getting out until 5 p.m. anymore. It's just the time just isn't there to produce content. And I decided, you know what, screw that. I got to find a way to do this. And you get in the NAR Box and just talking about how quick you can put together a video and put it out there. It just made me realize that if I'm going to get back into doing video, it's probably going to be using a tool like that and just going like as completely mobile. I mean, I love the big screens and the iMac and the RAM and all the storage, the Drobo, all that jazz. But man, to get stuff out there when I'm away, I need something really light and nimble and portable. And
and look at your, look how your summers go. I mean, you're at your camper every weekend. It's not like you're loading. It's not like you're taking those monitors with you and everything behind you. So
exactly,
you gotta do something that way. And and the funny thing is, so you get this NAR box. You're asking me questions. I don't know. So we start checking, and I like every technical person. I bet you and I know. And I go, I don't know the answer. Jamie didn't know the answer. Guess what? I checked like the FAQs and I found the answer. But even better, what I found the answer with, and just will talk a little bit about it on the NAR box, because I've had people ask me, can you edit your raw images in there, like in Lightroom Mobile? Because that's the key piece. I mean, I love the NAR box. I love to take it along, but the editing inside of there, it doesn't match up to Lightroom Mobile, and the Lightroom Mobile just kicks it out of the sky.
Yep.
So I found out how to do it, and you gotta give it a try now. I mean, now it's crazy that you're not using it, because you're editing a raw file right from that thing live over the air, sitting on a rock.
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I don't know if you picked up, I mean, I always wonder when I'm chatting or sending text messages or Facebook messages if my tone comes through, but I was pretty pissed off. I'll be honest. I was a little not at you, but just at what the NAR box did or what I thought it couldn't do, I guess.
Yeah, no, I thought it was at me and I got mad. I told Denise, we were together. Oh, look at Jamie. He's all pissed at me. I didn't buy it.
I was just like, man, I can't believe that you can't do this. This thing seems so capable. And then, well, you know what? What do they say? RTFM, read the effing manual. I didn't do that. I'm a typical dumb dude. I got it and busted it out of the box. All I needed to do was pair it up, and I thought I could just do everything. And then, messaged you, and you were like, yeah, I don't know, and then you come back, well, I looked on their website, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like a freaking tool because I didn't, investigate. I'm usually good at research and Googling, but I was at the camper and I had shot all this video and I shot photos, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put together a video like bam right now, and I'm going to fire it up to YouTube. And it didn't happen right away. And then, you reached back and you're like, well, you can do this way. Oh, and I found out you can do this too. And I'm like, dude, you just answered like all my questions. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. So long-winded Jamie, get to the point here. The video that I did post on YouTube, it's only just like a 2-minute video. It's really short, but it literally was like 6 or 7 minutes to piece it all together. Normally, I will spend as much time editing or way more than I do shooting. And this time, I mean, dude, I literally sat down in this barn and pieced it all together, and bam, it was done. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is freaking cool.
Yeah. And then, so you were doing that on the weekend. I'm sitting at that race, getting hit by chunks of mud, and I took my drone up, not over people. So the drone police, take it easy. I wasn't over people.
Out with the
far away. And I know they're coming after me now. Far away, and believe me, I was fighting 3 or 4 other big phantoms out there.
Oh geez.
So give me a break. My little thing looked like a butterfly, I think. But anyways, I took it up, recorded 3 minutes of video, brought it down, sat back in my lawn chair, kept getting my mud, and in 10 minutes had a video out. I mean,
so awesome.
Right in my lawn chair, as everybody's screaming about, trucks and getting muddy.
And what I did also, and I didn't put this video up yet, it was just more like a test, I guess, for me, is bringing video clips over and using Adobe Premiere Clips to do some of the editing just to see how that works as well. I don't know, just because I've used it before in the past, but I was using it when I was not on an unlimited data plan, and I don't know, kind of blew our cap out of the water a few times. But now I'm on an unlimited plan, so I plan on doing a lot more posting mobily using, the NAR Box, and then, their app, and then like Lightroom Mobile and stuff like that, to just kind of put everything together into a cool package. So
yeah,
it's going to be fun, learning.
Yeah,
how
I
to
think
do all
so.
this.
And we've got so if you're listening, we've got a code too where it's still good.
Yeah, you still got a little bit of time
Discount
left.
Code, 10% discount code on that. So
Yep.
we'll get it in the show notes, but take advantage of it because there isn't a lot of other ones that are really discounted out there. And and I guarantee you, I think 4 or 5 other listeners have already purchased in.
Yeah.
At least have told me so, and they're enjoying it at the same time.
And just to put this out there too, even if you're not doing like video editing yet with it, it's a killer way to get your raw files off your camera and backed up onto a rugged device. If you're out shooting, let's say you go out and you only have like a 16 gig card or something like that, or a 32 gig card, and somehow you fill that sucker up and you have nothing else, no other cards with you because you're traveling light. You can just pull the card out, stick it in the NAR box, suck all the images off of that onto the NAR box. They're safe there on a rugged, case and on an SSD, and then just, format your card and get back to shooting again. So there's a lot of ways to use that thing.
Oh yeah. There definitely is. Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to use it not only for the video pieces, but with drone stuff, but really, and the camera, but is street shooting. I mean, simple. I expect to be able to go back to the hotel room, work with it real quick, have all my pictures of the day categorized, and go after it from there.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to use your iPad Pro.
Yes, I will.
Lightroom Mobile, so you're like 100% like full-blown hardcore raw image file editing on the go with just
there's no reason I wouldn't be using the raw. Yeah, and the only reason I wouldn't use the raw is if I'm shooting with the Pen F, and if I got a cool shot, I'll use that. But still, the with the pen now and because now the pen's got that you're able to press the touch with the new gradient. Oh man, it's crazy. It gets bigger and smaller the harder you push. I don't even know. I don't use a Wacom. I had one years ago.
It's probably a nightmare.
Better than a Wacom tablet.
Probably stressing out. Those guys have to be freaking at this point.
Yeah. And I've got the first iPad. I don't even have the new one with the better processor. And now I'm getting mad about that. So I'll leave that alone now because I'll get in trouble at home for that.
Right. Yeah. All right. So that's cool. We've got some exciting stuff coming up with Adobe. Definitely. There's going to be some giveaways coming, in conjunction with them, which is super cool. And who knows? We'll see where this goes with this relationship with Adobe. So far, it looks pretty good. Let's do a photo share because we're already like almost halfway into the show. And I know you've probably been shooting. I actually went out shooting like real photography a couple of times. Which is
Why don't you, did you get yours taken care of? I know we didn't have a lot of time at the.
Yeah, I got it set up.
All right, well, go ahead then.
All right, so let me get this started here. And it's funny because whenever we do these, I always feel like, man, I hope that what I share isn't what all the viewers have already seen, because a lot of people that watch the show are friends on Facebook or whatever, but maybe it's cool to hear an explanation behind the photos. So I don't know. Again, I apologize if it's redundant to see all these images to everybody. All right, so first shot here. Holy crap. This is what photography is all about for me. I know that there are some people who love like the solitary moments where it's just, you explore and it's just you and your camera and there's nobody around and you're not talking to anybody and all that jazz and you're just the sole adventurer. That's fun. That's what this moment right here was. But getting to this moment was an adventure with other Olympus photographers, which is a complete blast. I had to just take a moment here to say big, huge thank you to Jason Helmer. He was the driver this night, drove us all over the state. Like at 2:00 in the morning, we're like 4 or 5 hours away from where we started, driving in the middle of the night. It was just an adventure. This is Betsy Point Lighthouse in West Michigan. This is one of the stops that's going to be on the workshop I'm doing in October. Although we might not be here at this time of night during the workshop. We'll see. We came here though. We were going to shoot the Northern Lights. The other weekend, the Northern Lights were supposed to be just magnificent. And unfortunately, the Northern Lights fizzled out. I did have a Northern Lights shot from the opposite side of the lighthouse that I'm not sharing because it just wasn't great, I don't think. But never, get upset when you go to a location and things don't work out. You just have to approach it from a different angle. And that's what I did. While everybody was on the other side of the lighthouse, I said, I'll see you guys in a little while. I'm going to the other side. So It's, you know, probably 300 yards away. I walked from the other side of the lighthouse to where I'm at positioned in this shot. And because I'm facing south, I knew I'd get the core of the Milky Way in it. I couldn't reposition any better to get more of the core in the shot. So I've got a tree kind of stuck in it. But, you know, it was still worth it to me to walk over to this side and take the shot. And this is with the EM1 Mark II. And this is the 8mm f1.8 fisheye, if I am not mistaken, on this shot. And of course, it's going to be wide open. I want to let in as much light as possible for the Milky Way. So it's at f1.8. And I'm pretty sure this is at like ISO 3200 for about 20 seconds, roughly. You know, so just a little tip. If you've never shot the Milky Way, get someplace as dark as you can possibly get and face the south. And that's generally where the galactic core, the core of the Milky Way is at. So this photo was taken at probably midnight, close to midnight. We were getting to the point where we knew we weren't going to get northern lights. So I decided to venture to the other side and get a few shots from this side. And then we left from there and drove further north, almost another hour, to Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes, like that whole area. And there's this, you know, it's a barn. So of course I'm going to be excited. This magnificently gigantic barn, the DH Day barn. I can't even put into words how big this barn is. It is freaking huge, just giant. So again, we drive about another 45 minutes north from that lighthouse. So that puts us here. By the time we got to this barn, it was close to 2 a.m. And we get there and we set up, and then a car pulls and parks in front of us, and two more photographers wander out into the middle of the field to shoot this barn as well. So there are the four of us in our group: Jason Helmer, the driver, Rick Kefjen, another photographer, lives right near me, and then my buddy David Bostler, all of us Olympus shooters, there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and two more guys show up and trek out into the field to shoot the barn. So we got to kind of chew the fat with those guys as well. This is with the 12mm f2 on an EM1 Mark II, and ISO, I think, is again at 3200 on this shot. And the reason the barn is so bright is because by the time we got to this location, the moon was rising. So this is not light painted. This isn't enhanced in Photoshop to bring the barn out. This is just the moon lighting up that barn. The next shot, still back at the lighthouse. These are all Milky Way photos. So if you're not a Milky Way fan, I apologize. So this is still taken at the same location as the lighthouse. I just have my ordering a little wrong here. Just again, I experimented a lot with different equipment. So this is actually shot with one of the Voigtlander lenses. I don't know how I ended up with that lens in my bag. I must have been thinking that I would try something with it, you know, night shooting over that weekend. And I guess that must be why I had it, but this is not wide open. So this is whatever the next step down is from f.95. I'm guessing like 1 or 1.2 or something like that. And being wide open with that lens with such a wide aperture, I could actually shoot this with a much lower ISO. So this was like ISO 1600 on the 25mm Voigtlander. Again, on an EM1 Mark II. And it's probably not going to show up on this screen share, but I'll try it anyways. I hate doing that because it's such a, oh, never mind. I was going to show you that the Voigtlander lens, while it is bright, that's not going to let me do it. There's coma, or I don't know if they call it astigmatism on the lens. You get these weird artifacts that show up in the image, basically at the corners. You can see this star up here in the upper right has like a weird shape to it, and this one right here does as well. So Voigtlander, cool lens for fun stuff, but I would have been much better served taking the Olympus 25mm f1.2 to do this shooting. And then the last shot, man, I was pretty pumped to get this. I'm still a bird nerd. This is an Eastern towhee, and it's a bird that I had not seen up near the campground where we were camping, and stumbled across this guy and got, I don't know what I would say is a pretty damn good shot. I was so close to him. It was ridiculous. There were a pair of them flying around. 300mm f4 with the MC14 1.4 teleconverter. This is ISO 800, which put me at, I think on this shot, 1/800th of a second. So I needed a fast enough shutter speed, you know, to where if he was moving around, which he was a little bopping his head, you know, side to side and stuff moving around. So the 800th of a second kept him still enough in the shot for me. It froze the motion. ISO 800, man, this is the ridiculously cleanest file ever at ISO 800. I'm loving what the EM1 Mark II does for birding. So that's kind of what I got. You know, I've got 3 Milky Ways and a bird. You know, it was a weird assortment of photos. And the bird shot was taken this past weekend. The Milky Way photos were taken the weekend before.
Yeah. Wow. That barn. I knew when I saw the big white barn, and I've never seen it before, but I knew that thing had to be gigantic.
Huge.
I mean, you can just sense it because of the lens that you were using. If you're using the 12.
I should have shared one of the photos I've got. I've got a photo taken from further back in the field. The other photographers that showed up, they're in the foreground right up against that fence that was in my shot.
Oh, shows the size.
And they look, you can hardly see them in the shot. It's just ridiculous. The barn is so big. So I'm super stoked.
What was that? Like what was it? Is that a dairy farm or just?
I honestly don't know the history of that farm. I just know that it's been preserved and it is now, if I'm not mistaken, a part of the park up there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To my understanding, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just making this all up. You know, I don't know. But for some reason,
somebody's got to get up there and
I think that I've heard this. You know, that it is actually just kind of either the land and the property or buildings or whatever been donated to the parks. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, I have to do it. I have to say thank you to Jason for driving, dude. We didn't get back to my camper. Me and David, we got back to my camper at like 6 a.m. And then we decided that we were going to sleep part of the day away, you know, and then get up. And this was, you know, Sunday night into Monday. So Monday morning we get back to the camper at like 6. And I said, Dave, you want to just go home? He said, yep, let's go. So I jumped in the car and drove him back home. You know, it was another like 2 hours back home from there. So I had been up at that point for like 24 hours, just chasing and shooting. So it was cool, you know, and like I said, a lot of people, and I understand it. I get the whole getting out on your own, exploring, you know, and doing that. But man, there's something fun about sharing an experience like that with a bunch of other photographers. You know, I said it in a post that stirred up a bunch of controversy on Facebook earlier. You know, it's like like this brotherhood. You know, you're part of. You know, you're like the motorcycle guys that kind of stick their hand down, you know, to the side when they drive by. That's kind of how I feel when I'm hanging out with other photographers. You know, we have that bond. So.
Yeah, it just makes you. Hey, that was a good David impression there, impersonation. That.
Yep.
Hello. That's cool. Yeah, that's good. I hope he's listening to hear that. All right, let's see. The funnier part on this one, I think, is let me get to it first here. The first picture, we're going to go from a bird to a bird, and that is highly unusual for you and I. That you're shooting birds, and
like this is literally the first time. So everybody take note.
This is just crazy. I'm gonna believe me, birding is not in my wheelhouse, but I like it. Okay. And I will say, as many bird pictures as I brought back pictures of people taking or being birders at this Maggie Marsh, because it was very interesting to see how people come out to this thing, one of these largest birding gatherings of people from around the world there. So this is back in May. I finally got to go through all these pictures, but I just got a couple, and they're not even the small ones that Jamie helped me identify, because again, I needed to go through. I knew what the Oriole was because, of course, Baltimore and baseball, but we'll leave that alone. So yeah, Trumper Swine, this is all the EM1, Mark II, all with the 300 and the teleconverter as well on there, and did a lot of pro capture that day, of course, and just great reflections. And this actually was off the beaten path from where all the birding was going on. There's two that I'm going to share, and this one here, I just love the tranquility of this. I mean, it's probably something you don't hear me say a lot of that tranquility, but this was nice. And I knew I had a good shot because my wife says it's a good shot. So I think she liked it. She's much more into birding than I am. So just these two really, really were sharp. And of course, we got another bunch of little warblers and all that Jamie helped me with to identify. But I got back into the city as quick as I could after that. I was heading over into Columbus, and I've never spent a lot of time in downtown Columbus, and I did this weekend. I was out visiting my son who lives there, and of course had the Pen F with me. Beautiful, bright, sunny day. And instead of actually putting this in either a monotone or the color profiles on the Pen F, I went ahead and actually just used some of the art filters. And I used the pop art filter when I saw this huge art installment or whatever outside this office building, a very normal office building with this large piece of it out there with the sky just, bright blue. I'll tell you, that art filter, that pop art can really do a number on things. And this is straight out of the camera. Love being able to do that and get there. So good day out in Columbus. There is definitely some good photo walk items in Columbus. I would not be surprised that I do a meetup there sometime, just because I could go visit my son and get to meet some of the people that were out there that listen to Mirrorless Minutes and follow us. So like I was saying last weekend, we were out, and this is probably at 6400 ISO. I was trying to work on some panning at late at night. This reminds me, and Bob Panic will know this. This reminds me of trying to shoot football at night. You just don't have the lights, and believe me, in this kind of situation, this is a field in a county fair that they just fill full of mud, and you've got these. We watched what the figure eight or crazy eight races where they're just bashing into each other, but try to get some panning in. And I love the opportunity to do panning because I know I'm not going to get many shots, even though I'm going to take a bunch, and it's fun to do. And at the same time, you capture the speed because you can catch all these guys moving fast with that EM1 Mark II. I was using the 40 to 150 lens on here. And but at the same time, it looks like they're just sitting on the track. You got to get some movement in cars, in my mind. And I know I've talked a lot about it, but again, I throw it on I shoot in JPEG because I was rattling off hundreds of shots trying to get some panning. And one of the things you want to do with the panning shot too, besides some of the other tips, is you want to make sure you turn your image stabilization for horizontal off. Keep your vertical, and because the camera will actually fight you, so you won't be able to do panning. You'll still get something, but if you turn your horizontal off, it certainly makes it a lot nicer. And this is probably taken at, I think I was panning at about 60th of a second when I did that. And then the next day I came over, a good friend of mine, Lou, we went out to Belle Isle down in Detroit and brought the drone up, and I had to get a picture of the Spark today. Great fountain out there. Everybody takes beautiful pictures of the Scott Fountain, and sunset on Belle Isle is beautiful. I wanted to get a different angle, and this is, I know Jamie's talked about it a lot, how he loves to get way above the items. Something makes something look entirely different, and that's exactly what this did. You just don't have the idea of what this thing looks like up above. And again, this is the Spark, a 12 megapixel camera. It's shooting in JPEG. I've only got the JPEG to deal with, but I'm getting great shots from this thing. It's little shadows from each of the chairs with the sun going down. Just a lot of fun, and this just opens up so much perspective. And I tell you, you'll hear a lot more of me talking about it, especially with some video stuff that I'm doing. But it's a lot of fun. I don't care what you have, Spark, Phantom, Mavic, it doesn't matter. If you're out there messing with that drone, you're going to get something that opens up your perspective. And then we jumped over, we've got a new park, and this will be the last one that I share here. And we've got a new park in Detroit run by DTE Energy, and it's called Beacon Park. And many of you may know and heard of Detroit, and you may have ideas of what Detroit is like, but I'm telling you, Detroit is on the rise. It is coming back so strong. Now we've got open grass areas and parks. There were probably 4,000 or 5,000 people down there. Restaurants open, and what this Beacon Park is, since it's run by our energy company, is all these buildings that you're looking at, like this one here, all these old buildings all have light shows on them. This is constantly changing. There's buildings right, left, behind it that all have different light shows going the entire time. And brand new restaurants down in here. And what a great night to be out. You got bands playing, people all over the place, very, very safe. And it's really at Midtown, and it's really making a comeback. So, I'm not trying to make a PSA on Detroit, but if you haven't been there in a while, you need to get down there. And if if you're nervous about getting down there, just get a hold of me. I'll go with you. I'll tell you the places to go. But this isn't even a live composite. This is, just shot handheld with about 1.5 seconds with the 12-100 and the EM1 Mark II. I know my buddy was with me. He was all worried he didn't have a tripod. And I said, what, tripod for who? I don't need no tripod. Watch this. So yeah, great. Just a great night to get out there and shoot. So believe me, if you can use, I'm trying to get out of this here. If you can use that EM1 Mark II with that 12-100 and you turn on the, all right, here, come on. Did it stop sharing yet?
Yep,
there we go. Okay. If you can get that 12-100, I mean, you can get some serious shots. I know we had a friend of ours when we were in New York. What did Chris hold it for?
Chris held it for, I think, 12 or 13 seconds.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, he was holding his breath, and
yeah,
I wasn't holding my breath. I wasn't going to stop breathing for it, but
yeah. I think I got a 4 or 5 second shot of the city skyline there, and from Chelsea. It was cool. It was easy to do too. So
yeah. Exactly.
So I guess before we wrap it up, I was lucky enough to get my hands on this. It's been hard to get for the people in the Visionary program because the customers are getting them first, which is good. It's always a good thing. But if anybody's curious about the TG5, I'm going to be running this thing into the dirt all weekend up at the camper. And I mean it. I mean, I don't play nice with this camera. I put the strap on it. It gets hooked onto my camera bag. It gets thrown down in the dirt. When the kids are in the pool, I literally will be on the other side of the fence and I'll just throw it through the air into the pool. I mean, I'm hard on the tough. So with that being said, I plan on doing some sort of using the NAR box and probably the TG5 or TG4 as my video camera. Plan on doing some sort of a video talking about the TG5. But if you have questions, email me. You can message me. Just do whatever you got to do to reach out. Because if you're considering getting the TG5 and you have questions you want answered, I'll be glad to answer for. I know Mike has a question immediately about a certain
well, I was just
mode on there, the mirror mode.
Yeah, the reflection mode. But yeah. I don't think they told you at Olympus that we have to share that, and you got to every other day we have to exchange it.
You're cutting out. You're cutting out. I can't. What, Mike?
I don't have my box here, so I'm not a message out to Olympus. I want my camera. I love because I use that. That's my bike riding camera.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's like your up north camera. That is my bike riding camera.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen.
No, I know mine's coming, so I'll be real happy to get it, and then we can really talk about it.
Yep. So again, just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody's got questions, I know I had a couple of people, ask me questions a couple of weeks ago, and I said I can't answer that technically right now for you, but because it was more like opinion based things rather than technical spec things,
right.
So much. But so anyways, I guess we'll just kind of wrap up the show. Again, super, super freaking stoked to be working with Adobe on some stuff coming up. And again, I think the sky's the limit on where that relationship can go. They're a really cool company as far as, working with creatives. So, I mean, that's what they're about, that's what their whole focus is the creative community. So, working with us is going to be a fun thing for them, and definitely it reciprocates the other way. We're going to be excited to work with them. So,
can't wait to get going. And boy, they've I think they identify well because we all use it. It's just such a common thing, and
right.
And understanding the more you understand, the better your creative process in my mind. So
I mean, it's literally everybody knows it so well that it's a freaking verb. Yeah. Photoshop is a verb now. It's part of our lexicon. It's a verb, So anyways, we'll stop, getting off because Mike and I are just kind of freaking out over being able to work with these guys. So we'll leave it at that. Tune into the next episode. We'll have definitely way more to talk about Adobe and how fun it's going to be for you guys that are watching the show as well. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for being at home, Mike. That's cool to see you in familiar surroundings.
So yeah, exactly. Well, we got Vegas this weekend. That's where I'm going. So it should be fun.
Sounds rough.
Yeah. And I got to tell everybody, just in case there's any rock and rollers, I'm going to see The Who. I'm pumped big time. It's been since 1981 since I last saw him. So yeah, It's going to be good. I'll have a little review of the concert for our next show.
Are you going to order that thing we talked about before the concert?
It's coming tomorrow.
That's awesome. Okay. Mike's going to have some cool stuff to share.
better not be watching. She does not know. I'm going to bring it, and I'm just telling her somebody asked me to test it.
All right, man. We'll talk to everybody later. Thanks for tuning in, you guys.
See ya.